Coming up on this episode of Latinas, we'll talk romance, celebrate Black History Month, and so much more. Latinas starts now. Welcome to Latinas, the show that's all about nosotras, created by nosotras. I'm Tina Beth Pina. It's February, and that means we're celebrating love, fashion, and Afro-Latinidad. Today, I'm at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden at the Trees of Little Caribbean exhibit, which is a celebration of the trees and tree-like plants cherished by Caribeños. Let's take a look. The Trees of Little Caribbean exhibition highlights 25 plants that have deep roots in Caribbean food, culture, and medicine. Visitors will learn about native Caribbean trees like papaya and guava, as well as non-native plants like mango and tamarindo.
It's really nice because within the signage, it'll tell you the history of the plant, where it's native to, and you'll see icons. The green icons indicate that they're native to the Caribbean, and the pink icons indicate that they're non-native, but they've been naturalized in the Caribbean. So oftentimes, like the tamarindo, you would think, of course, it's native to this area, it's, the candies, everything we eat, but it wasn't. It was brought over during colonialism time and during slave trades from West Africa, but has become very entrenched in the culture and very much about the culture.
Despite the Caribbean's brutal history with European colonizers that dates back to the 15th century, Caribeños have embraced the fruits, spices, and medicines from the non-native trees, which have become an essential part of their lives and memories.
I can't tell you how rewarding it is to be in the tropical, just gardening, making sure everything will be okay, and hearing people come in and be like, I'm home, and people coming in the dead of winter and just sitting there, just soaking up the humidity, because it's the plants, it's the smells, it's the air, it's just the general feeling can really transport you back. It's really nice to see, and in the tropical pavilion, some of these are still fruiting, so you can come in February to the garden and see papaya growing, banana growing, guanabana, and guava. It's really nice. I think it really kind of, the garden has it, and the plants have a special way of transporting you and bringing you back to a place.
The exhibit, which is in partnership with I Am Caribbean, a community organization with a focus on the Caribbean communities within New York City, also connects garden visitors with local businesses within Brooklyn's Little Caribbean neighborhood.
We're in such proximity to the largest Caribbean community in the country that it seemed fitting to honor that culture and celebrate it. The culture is rich right here, and it's existing right here.
Trees of Little Caribbean exhibit and its related programs are free with garden admission and are on view now. Whether it's in the Caribbean or here in New York City, many of us grow up hearing the word negra or negrita in conversations. It's been used as both a term of endearment and a complicated racial epithet. Correspondent Elena Romero sat down with two influential Afro-Latinas to explore the power of that word in defining their identity.
Wherever I go in the world, people consider me negra. They consider me Black here in the continental US, and in Latin America, they would look at me and call me negra or morena. And so I wanted to sort of center the unique experience of growing up in the continental US. And so that's why it is American Negra. And it's really about the duality of being more than one thing.
Afro-Boricua Natasha S. Alford is an award-winning journalist and the author of American Negra, a memoir that illustrates the complexity of being multi-ethnic and society's flawed teaching of identity.
I think that this generation is calling on us to question some of those rules and to say, maybe it's time for a change. Maybe the way that we think about race and respectability is really outdated.
Alford grew up between two worlds, with an African-American father and Puerto Rican mother. Affirming her identity has gone beyond using the word negra.
I think what is more important even than the words is your understanding of who you are and where you sit in the arc of time. When I started to research and find out about the freedom fighters, the people who revolted against slavery, the people who were brave despite oppression, the cimarrones, right? All of these Black ancestors from the island of Puerto Rico who kind of had been erased in our national narrative of what it meant to be Puerto Rican. As I encountered them, it gave me a new sense of pride, a new sense of really confidence in who I was as a Puerto Rican woman.
Dominican and Puerto Rican filmmaker Magdalena Albizu recalls hearing the word negra as a reference to her close family member.
Personally, I heard it with my grandmother on my dad's side, who's of darker hue. My aunt calls her Negra Corazon, so I would hear the word around. Do you see me, your daughter, as Black?
No.
In her new documentary entitled Negrita, Albizu interrogates the power of the word and the presumptions that surround Afro-Latina women.
Growing up, for me, what I understood when people said morena, that was African American. And when people said negrita, that was a Latina. So, words are very powerful in how you say it and the tone that you're using it.
Albizu says it's important for women and Afro-Latinas to understand Negrita's historical context.
One of the things that colonialism did, and especially in the United States, is separate. Oh, you're not like them. You work hard, you're into family. African Americans are different, so you need to separate. And a lot of Latinos did separate, so they just bought into the stereotype.
Afro-Latinas like Albizu and Alford believe the power and the usage of the words negra and negrita ultimately lie in the hands of the people it addresses.
Black people get to determine what works for them. If they want to reclaim that word, or if they feel that the word can be used with people who they are intimate with, that they have a close relationship with, I think that's up to them. But I do wonder, for those who are not Black, why? Where does the urge come from to identify somebody by their skin color? And think about the way in which you're doing it.
For Latinas, I'm Elena Romero.
Switching gears, it's that time of year when some of us think about our love life and who we're dating, or not dating for that matter. But what's dating really like these days, and who should ask out who first? We're about to get some answers in today's Caliente Caliente.
With my current boyfriend, I did flirt with him before there was any sort of indication that he may have any sort of attraction to me, and I don't regret that. I don't regret that at all. But yeah, I gave him the hint, and then he took the assist.
Nice.
He took the assist.
alley-oop.
So
Okay.
it was collaborative. It was a
Yeah.
collaborative. This has been a collaborative process, us being together. So.
I think with my current situation, I did throw signs, for sure. Like the flirty signs.
Yeah.
I was so googly-eyed when I met him. I was like, hi. My teeth basically said, I like you. And then it was reciprocated. And then from there, but he made the first move. He
Okay.
did take us over the threshold and out of the friend zone.
Oh yes.
And I was like, yes, he did the dirty work. Woo, thank goodness.
The assist with the,
Yes,
And I followed through. And how about you, girl? Are you comfortable with being the initiator?
I had a problem being the initiator all the time.
Oh, tell us.
I just, if there are attractions there, I chase at tigre, just go after. And the problem with that is the obsession of just constantly. It was a problem with me personally, but today I'm in a state of attraction with everything that I do. So if it's supposed to be there, it'll naturally come to me. That's it. I don't look for it. I don't seek it. I don't have the time to, but when I just sit in my purpose, the right person always crosses my path, whether temporary or long term. And it's always a beautiful moment. Even the separation is, because it's a learning lesson. So that's where I'm at right now. I'd stop the apps. It's definitely in person all the time. So it's beautiful.
I agree with that. It's organic for me. I've never been on the apps. I'm terrified of the apps.
Girl,
Yeah.
the apps is trash. I do know some success stories from the apps. I did not have any. I mean, when I was on the apps, like, it was like right before I went to grad school, I was like, well, I'm about to leave, so let me just like mess around. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna have fun. Post-pandemic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Post-panty, you know, like
Post-panty.
we wanted to, you know, have fun before we went to grad school for 2 years. But even I don't know. I didn't find good quality. I didn't find good quality on these apps. A lot of dudes coming on a little too strong.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a red flag for me, dog. You know.
Yeah.
I hear this from a lot of
why are you
my
so thirsty?
girlfriends. Yeah, girlfriends. I feel like there's.
Have a sip.
I feel like
Hydrate.
there's a mandemic going on right now. You heard about this?
No.
There's a mandemic right now.
Explain.
But there's like no more good men out there.
Oh.
I mean, this is what I'm hearing from girlfriends. They're fleeing the city because of this mandemic.
Well, the city is a hard place. Like New York especially is so hard. Like you dating somebody I live in Jersey, right? Like dudes in Brooklyn were like, oh nah, shorty, that's long
Not
distance.
crossing those 2 bridges.
I've always
Bridges is a
long
lot for a
distance.
relationship.
It's geographically unattractive people here. Geographically unattractive.
Due to their
Where they're at.
geographic locations. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, word.
Like, wow, he's perfect, but he lives in Queens.
Yeah, why do we do that though? That's like so crazy. I feel that way about Jersey. Like, oh no, dirty Jersey. There's an odor and you probably have it, so no.
I gotta leave Jersey, bro.
I'm trying to.
Or like if you meet somebody, like I'm from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? Cough up a lung where I'm from, Brooklyn, son. And like if somebody else is from Brooklyn, I'm just like, you from Brooklyn? Hi. Hello, come closer.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
you don't even live in Brooklyn anymore.
No, I don't.
And yet still, that's sexy
That's
to you.
so sexy to me.
Yeah.
It's got to be the boroughs too. You're right. Like if I hear Brooklyn, the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? I'm okay. Although Brooklyn doesn't usually do the Bronx, and Bronx doesn't usually
Yeah,
do
no.
Brooklyn. But,
You at the
shout out to
opposite ends of the
Bronx.
2 train, dog. You at the opposite ends.
I did that once. I lived in Gun Hill in Bronx, and he was in Brooklyn. I did it once. It took 4 hours to get home.
Yeah, we're not.
I'm all right.
We're not doing that. That is long distance. Laura Escobar's iconic novel, Like Water for Chocolate, is captivating audiences once again, but this time on television. Correspondent Isabel Ortiz gives us an in-depth look at the Latina-led story, which brings themes of love, tradition, and rebellion to life.
Pedro te ama, Tita.
¿Tú cómo sabes?
Pues porque me he dado cuenta cómo se la come a besos con la mirada.
¿Me concedes este baile?
From its origins as a best-selling novel to becoming the highest-grossing foreign-language film in the United States in 1992, Like Water for Chocolate has left a lasting impact on its viewers. Now, with Salma Hayek, a longtime admirer of the story as an executive producer, the series' adaptation has set records as the most streamed Latin American series on Max, introducing the tale to a new generation.
People are very compelled to melodrama as a format, you know, and to stories of impossible love. But I think that what really is key to this story is its melodramatic form.
Professor Makaya teaches a Latin American literature and film course at BMCC that includes this best-selling novel about the De la Garza sisters. The story centers around Tita, who falls in love with Pedro, but is bound by tradition to care for her mother until her death, preventing her from marrying him and trapping her in forbidden love.
I think it plays into the stereotypes, the cliche. You have the frigid woman, you have the woman who, the suffering, you know, Tita suffers. She can only suffers and produce tears and blood, basically, right? And then Gertrudis with all exuberance and desires, and Rosaura it's kind of a continuation of her mother.
While these archetypes reflect common tropes in melodrama, the story also highlights the unspoken strength of sisterhood, which is also central to the Latina community.
Sisterhood could be many things, and family can be many things. It's true in the novel, it's true in the movie, and also in the series. Of course, Gertrudis is the character she's the most liberated. She falls in love, she leaves. Gertrudis always follows her desire, and she's not constrained by these social protocols. And she tells her sister, like, why don't you escape? Like, what is oppressing you? What is stopping you from being free?
However, the series isn't without criticism. Professor Makaya notes that it centers on privileged, light-skinned characters, reflecting a whitewashed portrayal.
The narrative is so centered in them. If you watch the series in English, you can completely forget actually that you're watching or something about Mexico.
The kitchen is also central to the storyline, as Tita reimagines it as a space of resistance, expressing her forbidden love through flavorful dishes. Magical realism, a hallmark of Latin American storytelling, lets her emotions seep into her cooking, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary.
Parecía que en un extraño fenómeno de alquimia, el deseo de Tita se había disuelto en la salsa de las rosas y el cuerpo de las codornices. Pedro no puso resistencia. Era como si la propia Tita penetrara en su cuerpo con cada bocado.
You see that the food that Tita makes, the goal is always to communicate something to Pedro, because they don't speak much. So it's like she's kind of putting all of her emotions, and desires and frustrations in the food. And the effect that this have on the people who eat the food is not always positive, right? I mean, it either produces melancholy, so everyone cries, or they vomit, or the food is rotten. So I think that it would have been a mistake on the part of the filmmaker or the director of the series to actually get rid of this more fantastic element, because it's what infuses the story with this kind of specificity, like a Latin American specificity in a way. Food brings family into the table, memories, traditions. So of course there's kind of a positive aspect, and I think the series does a very good job in depicting these dishes in a very kind of luscious, delicious way.
Like Water for Chocolate remains a layered story of love, family, and the tension between duty and desire, which is common in the Latin community. While its adaptations have their critiques, its cultural significance continues to resonate. For Latinas, I'm Isabel Ortiz.
Like Water for Chocolate is making people want to bake again, especially if it helps attracting more love into your life. Our lifestyle expert, Rose Cruz, is here to show us how to bake a cake that anyone can make, even if they've never baked before.
Have you ever thought about making a cake and you think it's complicated? It is not. If you have these 4 main ingredients: eggs, flour, sugar, and today I'm using vanilla, but you can use any ingredient that you want. The first thing you do, you have to grease your baking pan. So it can be with butter, oil, or parchment paper. And the reason why you do that is because after the cake is baked, it can slide out with no problem. Then after you grease your pan, you crack your eggs into the mixing bowl. It's the main bowl, and blend them and beat them with a handheld blender. It could be with an electrical mixer or whisk, your preference. And you beat the eggs till they are very foamy. The next step, gather your sugar. It's 1 cup of sugar, and you're gonna start mixing it with the egg mixture, and you keep beating for about 5 more minutes till it is well blended. After that, you get your cup of flour, and with a sifter, you sift it in, mixing the flour and beating the eggs. You keep doing that mixture for about 5 more minutes till it's well blended. So today, I'm adding vanilla into the egg mixture, which I'm going to beat for 2 more minutes. But you can use any flavor that you want. You can use orange zest, lemon zest, cinnamon, chocolate, you name it. So after you sift your flour into the egg and vanilla and sugar, you want to make sure that you're actually doing soft strokes into the batter from the bottom coming up. Keep blending till the flour is very well blended into the egg mixture. That's what makes the cake airy and fluffy. After your cake batter is ready, you're ready to pour into your baking pan. Today I'm using a bundt pan, but you can use any pan that you like. And you bake for 25 minutes at 350 degrees. And then a half an hour later, you have a fluffy, airy, tasty cake. Delicioso. And remember, you can bake a cake anytime you want, even if you have never baked before. And like water for chocolate, spice it up with any flavor you want. And if you need any other tips, just ask Rose.
Definitely delicioso. And you know what else is great? When New York City buzzes every February with the energy of fashion's elite. We sat down with Jose Forteza, senior editor of Vogue magazine Latin America, to explore why Latinas are making waves in the fashion industry.
Well, hi, I'm Jose Forteza. I'm the honorary president of FDLA Fashion Designers of Latin America, and also the senior editor for Vogue in Latin America also. Latin American design, not only in New York, but worldwide, is getting a very good moment. It's in a very good moment. The reason for that, first of all, the talent of the designers. Second, the whole heritage we are using and taking advantage of in a good manner. And also the fact that we are sustainable in materials and in business models and everything. That's outstanding, important, and it's happening now. I started out in this industry 27 years ago. In those days, everything was New York, Paris, Milan, and London. 27 years ago, what we did was translating into Spanish the contents of the big magazines of the moment, including Vogue. It took us only 3 years for the editorial houses of those titles to understand how strong Latin America was, how creative Latin American designers were, and that's how Condé Nast Latin America was born 25 years ago. The key for our success is precisely what we have to offer the world. In terms of, we understand that fashion is an art and it's also an industry, and we have that very clear. The art part is what the Latinos have to offer. Challenging? Of course it is. But it's not because we are Latinas, it's because it is challenging for everyone to find a space and to find like the perfect platform to show what they can bring it to the table. Sometimes they ask me about the Latinas and what makes them different, considering that we come from a society that has been so patriarchal all the time. It's been 3 times more difficult for them, to reach their goals, but they're doing it right now. As we talk, we are again celebrating FDLA. The founder, leader, and inspiration of this institution is a woman. It's a Latina from the Dominican Republic, Albania Rosario. So I'm surrounded by women, and I'm so proud and so privileged with that. What the Latina women are bringing to the table in terms of fashion and style, just when nobody thought of, for example, curvy women on a catwalk, we had them because it was natural for us. Because the beauty and the sensuality and the intelligence of Latinas are, amazing.
What happens when reggaeton meets girl power? It's called the Sorry Papi Tour, and we're about to show you women reclaiming the night, one reggaeton beat at a time. Melissa Garay takes you inside the ultimate girls' night out.
Sorry Papi isn't just a party. It's a celebration of Latinidad, womanhood, and the power of community. Born from the beats of reggaeton, this all-women event empowers Latinas to reclaim their nightlife.
We wanted to create a space for women where they could go out and have fun. You can dress however you want without feeling insecure or, you know, worried that someone's gonna walk by you and grope you.
The concept began when co-founders Miriam Paz and Jackie Terrazas envisioned a space where women could truly let loose at a safe, all-female event celebrating empowerment through music.
Making a party like this where it's solely curated around reggaeton, it gives, you know, Latina women and all women, because we welcome all women of all ethnicities and races to come, but it gives them a sense of community and it makes them feel like, you know, we made something for them.
It's reggaeton. What else is better?
Sorry, Bobby!
The party showcases the unifying power of reggaeton, a genre of music that fuses Afro-Caribbean dancehall, Latin dembow, and hip-hop. Global icons like Bad Bunny have brought it to mainstream with songs like Titi Me Preguntó.
I think reggaeton, what it means to me is just a sense of freedom and liberation. You don't have to know Spanish to vibe to reggaeton. Like, just the music itself will make you want to move.
It's an amazing genre of music that's super popular in so many Latin American countries. I think it's getting more accepted, and I think that's a huge accomplishment for all the Latino community.
No judgment, just having fun. I love that.
Sorry Papi also highlights local female talent.
We like to feature local DJs and artists in every city that we go to because we think it's important for representation. We're in a male-led industry, and a lot of times they don't get those opportunities because they are women.
We have another part of the show that's girl anthems. So it's a very like empowering kind of like girl power moment.
It's just nice to have a space where we can just be and not have to worry about anything.
Curated photo ops, merch with fun slogans, and themed drinks all add to the unique celebratory vibe of the Sorry Papi experience, which has now become global.
We're being reached out from not only in the US, but Latin America, Europe, you know, a lot of our posts on TikTok, we have people from like Germany hitting us up, bring this to Tokyo, bring this to Germany. It's insane, you know? I think one of the biggest milestones is going from year one to where we would present this idea to venue owners, promoters, and they didn't believe in it. They didn't get it. They were like, an all-girls party, what is this? Like, and then now look at them.
For Latinas, I'm Melissa Garay.
Sign me up for that party. And that's our show for today. For more information on what you just saw, check out our website at tv.cuny.edu and follow our social media profiles. We even have a CUNY TV app now where you can watch us anytime, anywhere, on the go. And you know how we love sharing our stories with you. So definitely check it out and download it. And please make sure you tune in next month where you'll learn about nail culture in the Latina community, check out Latina artists at El Museo del Barrio, and so much more. Uepa! Hasta la próxima. Bye-bye.